One day I stopped a woman in the street, talked to her for 1 minute, got her phone number, and we ended up sleeping together for months. She became my girlfriend. It took 1 minute of effort to get that result. And if you want to see a photo of her and I together and other women, link is in the description, right? Ex-girlfriends and women that I was with prior to then settling down. But one of the reasons I got such quick and easy results with women is that I was using the 80-20 rule, which was invented by a man named Vilfredo Pareto. And that's why it's otherwise known as Pareto's principle. And essentially, it's a general rule in life that means that 80% of your results come from just 20% of the things that you do, or 80% of the results you get come from 20% of the effort you put in. So when it comes to getting a girlfriend, the 20% that gets you 80% of the results you want happens if you talk to a woman, make her feel attracted, and move it forward. It's a little bit of effort to do that. It's quick and you get a result. Yet what so many guys do, especially these days when they want a girlfriend, is that they avoid talking to women that they find attractive and instead focus for years on building their career, building muscle, and trying to become more successful in life in general. And while that's great for a guy to do, it's not the fast and easy path to getting a girlfriend, right? Sometimes a guy will hope that if he does that, if he focuses on his muscle, on his career, and trying to become successful, then attractive women will come to him, and he won't even have to try to talk to them. They'll essentially just hand themselves to him on a silver platter. Yet what most guys find if they build muscle or become more successful is that the kind of women they really want still don't hit on them, pursue them, chase them, and so on. Instead, they might get less attractive women hitting on them, but in almost all cases, if you want a particular woman, a specific woman that you like, then you actually have to be willing to talk to her, make her feel attracted, and move things forward. You've got to be willing to do that 20% that gets you 80% of the results that you're looking for. Right? The woman is just not going to do it for you. Even if you've been doing well at work or if you've added on some extra muscle after a lot of hard work and discipline in the gym and with your diet. And the thing is, obviously, I don't look like someone who works out and builds muscle. I would like to if I had the time, but I have different priorities at the moment. Right? My priority at the moment is building up the community that I have. I have guys who are learning from me every month, and I want to make sure that I'm building up an action-packed community for them, because a lot of guys are looking for a wingman. They're looking for the opportunity to make new friends. They want to ask advice. They want to be inspired by other members so they can feel confident when they have a chance with a woman and they think, well, other members have done it. I've seen the results that they've been getting. I'm just going to take this chance now. I want to talk to her. I want to do it. And he does that 20%. That results in 80% of the results you get, where he actually talks to the woman, makes her feel attracted, and moves things forward, right? And it doesn't mean that no guy in my community works out and goes to the gym. For example, there's a guy here who got a girl's number in the gym after talking to her for 20 minutes. And one of the reasons he was able to do that is that he stopped worrying about how he looked. I teach guys to stop worrying about that, stop worrying about how good you look compared to other guys, and focus on talking to the woman, making her feel attracted, and moving things forward. When you do that, you get results. For example, with the woman that I mentioned at the start of the video, there would be absolutely no chance that she would ever stop me on the street and want to get my number. Additionally, if I spent 3 years working out in the gym, she may have looked at me and thought, oh, that guy has big muscles. He looks good. But essentially, there's maybe a 1 in a billion chance that she would say, all right, well, I'm going to stop him, because women just don't do that. And by the way, here's what I said to her that day. This is a video that I posted a couple of years ago when, funnily enough, I was working out at that time because I had a bit more time available. Still wasn't very muscular though. But anyway, here's a clip. Another example is when I was walking in the city with a friend of mine during the day, and a beautiful model looking woman was walking towards me and my friend, and I said to him, look at that. She is hot. Then when she was about 5 meters away from us, I said this, hey, stop. How you doing? I was walking along and I saw you and I thought, man, if I don't say hello to you, I'm going to be kicking myself. So, how you going? I'm Dan. We then had a quick chat, and I knew that she was in a rush to go somewhere, so I kept it quick. I got her number. I called her the next day and we went on a date and we started a sexual relationship, right? You have to be able to do what is actually going to get you the result. And I was able to get that result even though I wasn't working out, even though I just had a normal body. Additionally, I wasn't taller than her. We're pretty much the same height. I'm 5'9" in terms of height. But the reason I got the result is that I did what most guys are not willing to do, because she was walking through the city at the time with what women refer to as resting bitch face, where they just have that face on them, that facial expression of like, don't talk to me, I'm not interested, and I'm in my own world, right? Women often walk around with that type of expression because they don't want to seem open to guys on the street who sometimes will be weirdo guys, sleazy guys, creepy guys, and so on. So the woman has to have that type of facial expression where she is essentially scaring guys away. But because I was aware of what's going on, why women have those facial expressions on, and not to take it personally, and I was aware that if you actually just talk to a woman and make her feel attracted and move things forward, then in many cases you get a result. Not in all cases. When I first started trying to get myself a girlfriend, it wasn't the case that every time I talked to a woman, she would find me attractive. It was basically maybe 1 in 10 times that I would get a result. But then when I figured out how to actually attract women, and I figured out what I now teach guys, it was 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, right? And then it got to the point where when I went out to meet women, I would only have to talk to 1 woman or 2 women at most, because in some cases, the first woman I spoke to just wasn't a good match, right? I wasn't feeling it, didn't really like her personality, and it's like, okay, I'll talk to 1 other woman. And because I know how to select the right type of woman, right? She looks single, I can tell by the body language. She looks like she would be the sort of woman that I would like, right? She is attractive physically, but I have to go and check what she's like personality-wise, vibe-wise, and see if it's a viable option, if it's possible, because sometimes she'll be way too insecure, or her friends will be really getting in the way, or something will happen in the situation with her friends that just gets in the way and makes things difficult. So it's not always possible to have 100% success rate when you walk up and talk to a woman. But when you know how to make women feel attracted, it's basically pretty much every time you talk to a woman, you get a result. And the thing is, with all the models that I was with over the years, and pretty women, cute women, and so on, they just wouldn't have ever come over to me if I'd been focusing even more on my career, right? It's great to focus on your career. I'm focusing on my career right now. I'm helping men succeed with women. I've been doing it for 20 years. I've been working full-time on this since 2005. I'm very passionate about this. I am always focused on helping men understand this stuff, because once you understand it, you start to get results. You realize how easy it is. Because most men are going through life thinking, well, I have to get even bigger, in my muscles here. I have to be even more successful. Maybe if I can get that promotion and then I can get a better car, then women are going to like me. And the thing is, if a guy's able to get a better car, women may look at him and, he may get some attention, right? He might get a bit of a look like that, or maybe a second look. But unless it's one of those gold digger videos that you see on YouTube that are often set up, but sometimes they're not set up, where a guy has a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and he's hanging around in an area where there's some women who are gold diggers, or really they're kind of working girls, right? They tend to sell themselves for money. In those sort of situations, a woman may then behave in that way, where she is showing interest in the guy and coming over and talking to him because he has the Lamborghini or Ferrari. But if a guy has a better car, maybe he gets a BMW or a Mercedes, or he goes from a Toyota to a Mazda, or maybe he gets a Tesla now or something like that, it's just not going to result in women coming over and saying, hey, can I take you out sometime? Can I get your number? Have you got a girlfriend? Maybe we should start dating or something. And the thing is, as I said, it's great to work on your career, become successful at what you're doing, right? Do a great job with what you're doing and level up in life. Fantastic. But it just doesn't result in women coming to you in almost all cases, unless the woman is unattractive, or maybe she's a gold digger or something like that. But if you want a girlfriend right now with where you're at and you want to do it very quickly, you've got to focus on putting 80% of your effort into the 20% of things that will get you results. 1, talk to her. 2, make her feel attracted. 3, move it forward, right? So for example, get her phone number, set up a date, kiss her, initiate sex, and so on. And the thing is, the other things that a guy does, right, if he works out and he is building up his career, they can help him get better results. For example, if he is a very skinny guy and now he starts to get into shape and he looks a bit better, it can help him be more physically attractive to women and make it a bit easier for him. I know that when I was out there being with all the women that I was over the years, it would have been easier if I had an athletic body. And it possibly would have even been easier, but a little bit more complicated, if I was successful, right? Because at the time, I was driving around in an old Toyota Corolla. And I remember one of the catwalk models that I was with, she was disappointed when she saw that I was driving a Corolla, to the point where I still remember it to this day, where she walked up to my car and she said, "That's your car? You drive this?" Sort of thing. And she was disappointed because she was hoping that I'd be a bit more successful than that, because she was used to being around guys who were more successful. And because she was taller than me, she was very pretty. I'm 5'9" in terms of height. I am not a successful guy. It was just a bit of a letdown for her, but we were still hooking up. I was still getting the results that guys want to get. Now, I didn't want to have her as a girlfriend because I didn't like her attitude, but I was still getting the results that most guys want to get, where they want to have sex with beautiful women. And she would never have come over and talked to me, right? She would never have asked me out. Nothing would have happened if I didn't walk up to her and focus on that 20%. And the same thing then happens when you're in a relationship with a woman. A lot of guys get to the point where they want to have more sex with their girlfriend or wife, but they're focusing on the wrong thing, right? The guy's thinking, well, I need to take her out to dinner more. I need to buy her things. I need to, do the dishes or something. When in reality, he's just got to interact with her, make her feel attracted, make her start to feel turned on, and then she's going to want to have sex. And the thing is, what I've found is that most men aren't willing to do the third step. They aren't willing to make her feel turned on. And they feel like if she's not jumping on them and wanting to have sex, then it means that she doesn't want to have sex. They don't realize that most women experience what's called responsive desire. And that means that, unlike men, many women don't actually feel like having sex just randomly out of the blue, right? You actually need to make them feel turned on. So a guy will be in a relationship with a woman and he'll be interacting with her, of course, and he may be generally attractive in terms of he is confident, he's a good man, and, they may share some humor and laugh together and so on, but he's not using any flirting to turn her on. He's not creating a sexual vibe to turn her on. Instead, he's expecting her to be like him, where she is just going to want to have sex randomly for no reason. He doesn't understand that with women, in almost all cases, you need to make them feel turned on, right? Some women don't experience what's called responsive desire. They experience spontaneous desire, and those women will want to have sex randomly out of the blue. But the majority of women actually need a man to be confident enough in himself and understand that she has responsive desire, to the point where he understands that he can flirt with her and create a sexual vibe, and then she's going to start to feel turned on. Then she's going to start to have desire for sex, right? But if he's thinking that, okay, maybe if I just work out more and I get into the best shape of my life, then she'll start wanting me more. But then she doesn't. And I know that because I've been helping guys with this for 2 decades now, and I've heard all of the stories, right? Guys who have not only worked out naturally and got into the best shape of their life, but guys who have gotten onto testosterone injections, right, TRT, and they end up looking way better than they've ever looked physically, but it still doesn't fix the problem, right? The woman that he's with isn't coming onto him, and he's not getting what he wants, and he gets really frustrated because he's got an even higher sex drive now that he's on testosterone. Or the guy who's doing a lot of dishes and housework and he's still not getting what he wants. And he's focusing on the wrong thing in terms of getting the result that he wants, right? There's nothing wrong with a guy working out. And if a guy wants to do some dishes, knock himself out, right? But it's not something that a guy needs to do when in a relationship with a woman in order to make her want him sexually, in order to make her feel turned on. It's just not how it works. So if you're single and you want to get laid or get a girlfriend, make sure that you're not putting 80% of your time and effort into things that will potentially get you 20% of the results that you want. For some guys who are watching this video, they will know that they've been putting all their effort into improving their fashion sense, maybe moving to a better apartment, doing all these other things, and it's still not resulting in them getting a girlfriend. Now, it's great that they've done all that. Go for it. Level up your life. Fantastic. But if you want to get laid or get a girlfriend, you've got to focus on the 20% of things that are actually going to get 80% of the results, or in some cases, for some guys, 100% of the results, where you just talk to the woman and you make her feel attracted, you move it forward. The next thing you know, you and her are on a date, you're kissing, you're having sex, and you've gotten yourself a girlfriend. And what you'll find as well is that it's not as scary and difficult as you may think it is, right? With this member of my community here, he'd been holding off on talking to a woman that he liked, and he finally did, and he realized, well, it's not even that difficult. And another guy who decided to go out and use the techniques that I teach, had sex with a woman on the first night. Another guy did it as well. Another guy did it, and he ended up getting into a relationship with one of the women. And another guy made a point that the woman that he had sex with would probably have never swiped on him on a dating app, right? Because on dating apps, it's mostly men, as you may know, right? The majority of users on dating apps are men. So there's a very small percentage of women, and their standards go way up. But when you actually talk to a woman in person, it's just you and her, right? All the other guys in the scene are usually, right, in 99% of cases, not trying to get her attention at the same time. There might be another guy there or another guy there, or there's a guy over there who's interested in her. But when it's you and her, and you're talking to her, making her feel attracted, and then you move things forward, then you're able to get results. What you need to do in most areas of life, not just with getting laid or getting a girlfriend, is focus on the 20% of things that you need to do that gets you the most results in the fastest and easiest way possible. And when it comes to getting laid or getting a girlfriend, that is, talk to her, make her feel attracted, and move it forward. When you do that, you get results. And if you need help with having the confidence to walk up and talk to women that you find attractive, or if you struggle to know what to say and do to make women feel attracted when you're in front of them, then either keep watching more of my YouTube videos, or if you want my best ever techniques, then check out my Attraction Mastery video lesson series at Master Attraction. I'll see you there or in the next video on YouTube.